back to Behind the Caution Tape. I'm your host, CrashLit. It was a busy week last week in USC Athletics, and it's going to be another busy week this week in USC Athletics, so let's get into all of it right away. We'll start with some beach volleyball news. The four-peat national champions took part in the AVCA West qualifier at Manhattan Beach Pier over the weekend. Was not able to find any results, but kind of their first preseason action of the year, so definitely excited to see the champs back out on the sand. Next up, according to some information I saw on social media, that they will be playing in Huntington Beach. I will have more information on that next week. And meanwhile, big congratulations to assistant coach Emily Hansen on being named to the 30 Under 30 award on last Wednesday, October 16th. In order to qualify, you have to be an up-and-coming coach, one of the top up-and-coming coaches ages 30 or younger. So a big congratulations to Coach Hansen on an incredible achievement. Meanwhile, we'll move to a little lacrosse news. They had their black and white scrimmage, originally named the Cardinal Gold scrimmage, on Saturday. And then the black team beat the white team 11-5. Next up for lacrosse, they have their Navy Play Day in Annapolis this upcoming Saturday. They will play Navy at 11. Not sure who else they will play. I was able to confirm on the Navy website that Navy plays USC, but not sure who else is there or who else USC will play. I'll try to get more info on that and report back on to it all for you next week. In addition, the day after, they'll go visit Georgetown. So October 27th. Time has still not been released, so I'll give you all that more info next week. Meanwhile, for cross country, they took 13th at the Highlander Invitational hosted by UC Riverside this past weekend, with redshirt junior Jacqueline Duarte running a career best in her 6K to lead USC. Next up for the Trojans, their regular season concluded. They are up next with the Big Ten Championships on November 1st. We'll report back on them as we get closer to the start of next month. Men's golf, meanwhile, took 5th out of 14 teams at the Golf Club of Georgia Intercollegiate in Alpharetta, which was hosted by Georgia Tech. That took place from last Friday through yesterday. So they took 5th with senior Gavin Aurelia leading the way, and he tied for 15th in the individual. It's his third time he's finished in the top 25 and finished 3 under par. Next up for the men's golf team is the Southwestern Invitational from January 27th through January 29th in Lake Sherwood, hosted by Pepperdine. So that was the last action from the men's golf team, at least that's been put on the schedule for now. If anything changed, I will let you know, but otherwise we'll check back in with men's golf probably next semester. Women's golf, meanwhile, tied for first with Stanford at Stanford Intercollegiate from also this past weekend. So from Friday to Sunday, October 18th through 20th in Palo Alto. Freshman Jasmine Koo won the individual title, and next up for the women's golf team is the East Lake Cup in Atlanta at the East Lake Golf Club this next week, so from October 28th through 30th. Meanwhile, the men's tennis team is currently taking part in the ITA Southwest Regional Championships in Tempe, Arizona from October 17th through 22nd, with graduate student Tristan Bradley and senior Carl Lee in the quarterfinals for doubles and the round of 16 for singles in the main draw. Meanwhile, the women's team took home 7 backdraw wins in the ITA Southwest Regional Championships. On the women's side, that was in San Diego, not Tempe, so different locations, even though they were playing at the same time. And that was taking place from last Thursday through today. Or maybe yesterday, but yeah, today. And next up for them is the Jack Kramer Classic in Rolling Hills Estates of the Jack Kramer Club from November 1st through 3rd. So we'll check back in with them closer. Now on to the football team. Team took a very, very tough 29-28 loss at Maryland on Saturday. I was able to catch most of the second half and probably the last 2 to 3, maybe 4 minutes of the first half due to coming from water polo, went to Rock and Riley's. Not as empty, not as full as I was expecting. Probably kind of. I guess I should suppose I shouldn't be surprised given that the team has kind of been hasn't been winning lately, so morale's a little down among the fan base. That said, though, I still think we need to, as a fans, need to stay positive and keep supporting this team and just keep supporting them, especially as the results near the end of this year are going to matter in terms of getting good recruits for the years to come, especially with Riley still, especially with just how things are going. We just need to get momentum. The team needs to get momentum now, so we need to do our best as fans to support them. And while that was definitely a tough game to watch, I think we saw the defense collapse at the end, and there's all the debate about should they have gone for that 4th and 1 or kick the field goal. I'm actually not opposed to what Lincoln Riley did. I see the logic of both sides, and I'll break down why I am seeing why he went with the field goal kick. Because if you don't get that 4th and 1, which I mean, I'm not saying they would have got it. Sure, if you get that 4th and 1, game over. No question. You can probably run the clock out, kneel it, whatever. That's game. So, but there's risk to that. But then again, there's same could be said for the field goal, and we probably would be talking about if Michael Lance had made that kick. However, I support the field goal because sure, your defense got come back on, and sure, maybe Maryland would have scored that touchdown, and scores now 31-29. But you know what? But here's the thing: if they're 30, you get that field goal, and you have Maryland scores, they got to recover an onside kick. So I think that's pretty difficult to do. So I'm supporting Riley on this decision. I think he made the right call. I know a lot of people probably disagree with me. Leave me if you're watching this on YouTube, leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm always happy to hear my fans and subscribers' opinions. So please, yeah, I'd really like to hear your thoughts on it. But yeah, overall, I think it was definitely, obviously, I think though that was the right call to go for it. But definitely, it is frustrating to not see it come through at the end there. But yeah, but anyways, just with kind of how things are going now, I think we are seeing a lot of frustration. And I mean, most notable outspoken critic of just what's been happening is former USC running back Lendale White, who kind of put out some interesting posts on X, kind of lobbied for Lincoln Riley to go. I don't think Riley should go. I think definitely he's got time to turn around. I definitely do think some change needs to be made, whether that's at the quarterback or somewhere else or how they play. I think definitely that the Trojans should stick with the running game more, especially Woody Marks and even Quentin Joyner. They're really good. So I think USC does need to stick with them more. But other than that, I definitely think there are some things that could change. Maybe change the quarterback, just try to, provide a new spark. I think Jade Maeva is definitely would be very capable being the USC starter. I'm not saying that Miller Moss hasn't done a good job. Yes, he has been consistent, but he's been doing a good job. But still, when you're losing, I feel like you have to make a change. So I feel like that's just the way. I'm trying to stay positive, but even for me, it's tough. But overall, I think still we need to keep supporting this team. But anyways, to Lendale White's put out 2 notable posts on X. So I'll just read them, and I quote. So this is Lendale White's opinion, to be absolutely clear. And I quote him here. I'm going to be completely honest. Lincoln Riley should be embarrassed. They should probably do him like they did Lane Kiff, referencing how Lane Kiffin was infamously fired on the LAX tarmac following that really bad loss to Arizona State back in 2013 in Tempe. So definitely White making a bold take there, but that's probably not going to happen a lot. But anyways, then the other one that caught my eye was Jaden Maeva's mom, I believe, Kahia. I hope I'm saying that right. Apologies if I'm saying that wrong. Kahia Maeva put out a post on X a couple days ago that said QB1 hashtag myQB hashtag fight on at Jaden underscore Maeva with a photo of Jaden with his parents. So pretty much she's obviously being his mom. Of course she's going to lobby for her son. But that's not what caught my eye because, of course, any parent is obviously going to lobby for their kid. It's what parents do. I mean, they want to see their kids play, and I can't blame them. I can't blame her for doing that at all. What caught my eye, though, is Lendale White it caught Lendale White's eye, and he said, and he reposted, quote, might be time for you to play, little bro. So seems like Maeva's got Lendale White's cosign. So we'll see what changes happen this week. But anyways, on to the next game. USC is now 3-4 and 1-4 in Big Ten play. They go on to face Rutgers, who's now 4-3 on the year. And that game is on Friday, so USC's first Friday night game in a couple of years since they played Colorado back in November, right before Deion Sanders showed up. But anyways, I think that is definitely just going to be an interesting game for sure. It's just a bummer that, USC isn't doing better, but I still think we need to come up and support this team. Rutgers is currently 4-3, and they're 1-3 in Big Ten play. It's definitely going to be a big game for sure. And I think USC definitely needs to get this win to just, get some morale, get the fans kind of back excited, especially with a lot of games left. And I mean, for me, I'm not missing another football game this year because I'm going to go to UW and I'm going to go to Seattle. And of course, I'm not missing the remaining 3 home games. So yeah, and speaking of, so definitely it could be a tough game for sure, and USC needs to win this one, especially with the fans starting to lose faith in Lincoln Riley. I still have a lot of confidence in him. I think he does need to adjust some things, make some changes, but overall, I think that USC can still accomplish a lot with what's left in the season. So anyways, before we move on to women's volleyball, one more thing about the UW game on November 2nd. The time has been set. It is 4:30 on the Big Ten Network, and I will be at that one with my friend Austin Robertson. We went to high school together. He just graduated from UW last year. He came down for the game last year when USC hosted the Huskies at the Coliseum. So we're now doing the return trip together. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I'll definitely talk more about it next week. And as we lead up into that game and kind of what I'll be looking forward to that. But anyways, this weekend, I'm definitely looking forward to being at Rutgers for that one for sure. Now on to women's volleyball. They got 2 big wins, so 2 sweeps. They got a 3-0 win against Maryland on Friday and then a sweep against Rutgers yesterday. So I managed to watch the entirety of the Maryland match and then figure out a way to connect my Big Ten Plus to my car play and listen to the final set. I was driving home from the beach yesterday after surfing. So definitely, I think there were times where USC definitely, struggling a little bit, but overall they're able to, come out and crank out 2 wins, big wins, especially with who you got coming up on the schedule and especially the game on Saturday, but still even Michigan State, you can't overlook them. So I think overall, my big thoughts are, I think, Jaden Livings is continuing to dominate. She led with 14 kills against Maryland. And then Allie Bate. And what's impressive about Livings is she's a freshman too. So very, very impressive work from Livings. Then graduate student Allie Batenhorst led the way with 9. Definitely more spread out game from what I was listening to and when I was checking the stats on Sunday against Rutgers. But overall, you're just seeing USC has multiple options, as I've talked about before. Livings, Batenhorst, Adanya Famuina. You're seeing kind of everyone just being able to come in and contribute, especially, and even Mia Tuaniga's, I think, gotten a lot better at how she's exploited her dump. I think before, when she's dumped the ball on 2, I think sometimes in the past, she's sometimes been used it a bit too aggressively, but I think she's doing a better job. And I think having a more balanced lineup helps her, not required to use it as much and just makes her so much more effective on the list as well. And then Allie Batenhorst also got added to the AVCA watch list as well this past week as well. So big congrats to Batenhorst there. Anyways, on to the games this week. USC will host Michigan State on Thursday at 8 p.m. That'll take place on the Big Ten Network. And Dinah Jane will be singing the national anthem for that one. Jane previously part of Fifth Harmony, so definitely exciting to see that. I'm really looking forward to that one. But then the big game this week against third-ranked Penn State at Galen Center, 8 p.m. on Saturday on the Big Ten Network. That should be quite a game. Penn State's a really good program. And I think USC has proven they can compete with those better programs. They just need to, get those wins against ranked teams. And that could be something that really sets them up high with the selection committee, especially if those rankings come out. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, Penn State's a very good team overall. They're 18-1, haven't dropped a game in Big Ten yet. And USC, meanwhile, is 14-4, 6-2 in Big Ten play. They're tied for fourth in the standings with Purdue and Oregon. And they held steady at 16th in the AVCA rankings, and then came in 15th in the NCAA D1's top 16. So big news there. I think definitely you want to be in that top 16s to ensure you can host those first two rounds, which I think would be huge for USC if they could host. Like, that'd be those would be two great matches. And I think the Trojans are going to have a lot of potential. I think they can go really far this year. I've really seen like kind of what everything Brad Killer told me back at that practice, like everything he's changed, adjusted. And what's more impressive is just especially with the transition to the Big Ten, that the USC team has just really stepped up and continued to get better and progress, even with losing Skylar Fields. You got Allie Batenhorst, Jane Livings has turned out to be really good. Adanya Famuina, Tyra Ariel's continuing to dominate in the middle. Leah Ford has been pretty good in the middle too lately, and then so has Favor Onyanwu. So a lot of options and a lot of depth on this roster, especially offensively for the Trojans. So it's been really they're a fun team to watch. You should definitely make it out to a game. I'll be at both those. I'll get back to that at the end of the episode of what my schedule will look like for the week. And now we'll turn to a team that has debuted to the public but hasn't technically started their season yet with men's basketball. They beat UTSA 84-63. I managed to make it to half of it. As I explained last week, I had promised my parents I'd go to a Shabuzi concert with them up in Hollywood at the Fonda. It ended up being a great time. Fortunately, it's not what we're here to talk about, so I'll get back into what I saw of the team and what I saw from people I saw at the game who I texted about it. So USC struggled, I think, in the first half. They were up 35-32 at the break as I left, and I recorded a video on my reel on Instagram. So definitely, if you always want to hear my thoughts as I'm leaving a game, whether it's halfway through or at the end, just make sure to follow me on Instagram or YouTube, TikTok, wherever at CrashLit. That's where I'm always posting content of what I'm at and what my thoughts are as I'm leaving. So, but anyways, I think they kind of struggled with chemistry. But I think it makes sense, as we've talked about. This is a new look team here, so of course they're going to have some struggles with chemistry. But I think you saw them. From what I saw, they kind of pulled it together and just kind of pummeled UTSA in the second half to win 84-63. And they're still developing chemistry. I think they'll find it. They'll have another good test that I'll get to in a minute against Gonzaga. But I think St. Thomas might be the guy for the Trojans this year. I mean, it made sense considering he was one of the two players along with Desmond Claude to go to Big Ten Media Days with head coach Eric Musselman. And I've got a lot of faith in Musselman. For those of you who don't know, I actually did grow up a San Diego State fan because my dad went there. So I remember Muss from when he's at Nevada. His teams are always a nightmare. So glad to not be cheering against him anymore. But anyways, so because I got a lot of faith in Eric Musselman, he's a very good coach. He's a proven track record, both at winning in both Nevada and at Arkansas. Places that aren't exactly that, just have proud tradition, but aren't always the easiest to win at. So I think it's just St. Thomas. He's at 21 points, and I think he could be the go-to guy on this team. And I think that's just going to be a big thing this year for this USC team is just look for Thomas, but then also just as these guys get more comfortable around each other, I think they're just going to get better together. And I think that's kind of just what I've seen. It's just it seems like every time they just do something, they just get better every time. And I think that's just what's been really exciting about this. What could be really exciting about this team. So their final exhibition game, at least that's open to the public that I've heard about, will be against Gonzaga at the Acrisure Arena in Palm Desert. That'll be this Saturday at 5 p.m. It'll be live on the Big Ten Plus. So it's going to be a real test to kind of see where this team is, because the Gonzaga is one of the better programs in college basketball, especially with Mark Few having been there. He could have left a long time ago, but he chose to stay, and he's just built this team into just a contender, a top brand. There's a reason why Oregon State and Washington State in their quest to rebuild the Pac-12 adding Gonzaga, even though they don't have football. That's another conversation, though. But anyways, you just know that Gonzaga is just one of those brands that just is always good at basketball, especially on the men's side. But even their women's team has looked pretty good in the past couple of years from what I've seen, especially having followed that more. But anyways, back to this game. I think it's going to be a real test and just kind of show where this team's at. I'll try to catch what I can, but I got to kind of figure out my schedule given that there's volleyball later that night and where I'll be for it. But anyways, those are my thoughts on it. So USC is going to be taking on a very experienced coach and a roster has a lot more chemistry and guys who've been playing for each other and didn't go through a complete overhaul this offseason. And now on to the women's soccer team. They are on an absolute tear, probably the best team currently playing in all of fall sports right now. They beat Ohio State 1-0 on Thursday at BMO Stadium. Simone Jackson got the rebound off of Maria Alago's PK in the 83rd minute to give USC the win. It was a pretty fun environment. I went with one of my friends. A lot of people I knew showed up just as they were trickling in out of class, but overall it's just a really, really fun environment. I think you just saw that just the opportunity to go watch USC play at BMO Stadium is just something you can't really turn down. So I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to this one as soon as I saw it. I mean, I was even going to go before when it was originally still at the Coliseum. Like, you can't see it, but on the poster I have for the team this year, it does say LA Coliseum. But anyways, so yeah, definitely great soccer environment. It's my second time there, but one of the really cool stadium, I gotta say. But anyways, a lot of credit, even though USC had a relentless offensive attack most of that game, but a lot of credit goes to the Ohio State goalie, Molly Pritchard, who I would probably say was my player of the game just because she just was stopping pretty much everything aside from Jackson's rebound off of her block of the PK. And I could tell she was kicking herself the rest of the game, even though she had a great game overall. And I feel like it's not uncommon when it's a 1-0 loss and it's the losing goalie is the player of the game because they just got let one shot by. I mean, she had 6 saves, so it's just really impressive performance overall. But anyways, I didn't make it to Penn State back at Dignity Health on the track field. Aaliyah Farmer scored early, but then Penn State got a goal late and with seconds left to go in the second half. So right near the end of the game, Elena Sampaio drilled a free kick to give USC the 2-1 win. And I mean, she's definitely a really great player. I mean, she's had some insane kicks. I mean, she had an electrifying goal against Indiana. I did a feature centered around it that should be coming out probably at some point this week, today, maybe tomorrow, but definitely before their final match against UCLA. I'll get in that for a sec, but make sure to go read that on Annenberg Media. I'll definitely be promoting on my Instagram when that's out, so just definitely make sure to keep an eye out for my stories there. But yeah, USC currently ranked 9th. They'll probably move up a spot or two. And then they came in 11th on the NCAA D1 committee's top 16. So they have a good chance to host like a few of the earlier rounds of the soccer tournament. And then, yeah, so they're now 13-1-2 on the year. And then 9-0-1. They'll host 10th ranked UCLA. Please note those rankings aren't updated. I suspect USC is going to move up. Like I said, not sure what UCLA will do. They tied with Penn State, beat Ohio State. So maybe they'll stay, I suspect. But anyways, it's going to be a great matchup. And it's been moved to the Dignity Health Sports Park main stadium. So not the track field, but where LA Galaxy plays. So shout out to USC for just giving this team 2 great matchups and 2 great stadiums. This was originally supposed to be in the Coliseum, but now they're moving it to there. So I'm definitely going to make it to that one, just given all the implications of this game. So the Big Ten title is going to come down to this crosstown showdown. It's at 12 p.m. on the Big Ten Network this Sunday. If USC wins or draws, they win the title. UCLA can win it with a win if they can beat USC, but I like USC's chances. And especially what also is great about this could be the university's first Big Ten title since they joined the conference. So that's feel like something you got to be at. So if you can make it, make sure you're there. Sounds like it's free and open to the public. According to the website, it's free and open to the public. So definitely going to be an electric game. Make sure you're there if you can get there. But overall, a lot of implications riding on this game. So I think it's going to be just a great game and just can't wait to see USC definitely, continue to just do well and get this Big Ten win before. And then they'll be taking part in the Big Ten soccer tournament, which has had some details announced. 10 teams will make it. USC definitely going to be one of those top 10. And then first 2 rounds will be hosted at the University of Minnesota before the final round or quarterfinals and semifinals will be hosted in St. Louis. So definitely a lot of great action there from the women's soccer team. Like I said, it was just great to be at BMO and just see this team just do so well, even in their first team. And a lot of credit goes to head coach Dan Alconis for just seamlessly guiding this team into the conference, especially with just the increased travel to 4 home games in Carson and just the increased Big Ten travel. And so for our final sport tonight, or today, we will talk about the men's water polo team. They beat Princeton last Wednesday with Andre Gregurovich having 6 goals in a match. It was a fight until the end. Princeton was the number 7th ranked team in the country, so definitely a bit of a fight there. And then on Saturday, USC lost 13-10 to UCLA in a crosstown showdown. Tough match to be at. Definitely USC showed a lot of fight, but UCLA started to just pull ahead in the second half of the match. It was really tight the whole time. I mean, and just, yeah. So it was just, tight in the first half. UCLA pulled away. A lot of fans in attendance. So definitely, a lot of, forge down going on. So all those matchups are always just great and just fun to be at. So definitely looking forward to it. And then, so USC's now 15-3 on the year, currently ranked 3rd. I expect they will stay there given they lost to the number 2 team. And they kind of haven't lost. They've only lost to the Stanford and UCLA, the only teams ranked above them. So definitely going to be definitely another big matchup against UC Davis this upcoming Saturday at 1 p.m. at home. It is live you can watch it on overnight.com. It'll be followed by the alumni game at 1:30. I'm definitely going to the UC Davis game. It's the final home game of the year. So definitely just, big game for USC to get back on track before they resume MPSF play the following week. And now finally to close out, we'll talk about, I went 1-1 last week. That is not counted in the men's exhibition game because it was an exhibition and doesn't count towards their record. I'm not counting it on mine. So I went 1-1, 2-1 if you count it, but like I said, does not factor into my overall record. I'm now 17-4 on the season and 229-86 all time. And then my plans for this week are volleyball versus Michigan State Thursday, football Friday against Rutgers, Saturday water polo versus UC Davis, followed by women's volleyball later that night against Penn State. And then, of course, I'm going to go to soccer on Sunday for that crosstown showdown at Dignity Health, the LA Galaxy Stadium. So definitely going to be a bit of a busy week, sort of a rampage for me. Still haven't, since my sophomore year when I think it was a 9-day rampage of going to at least 1 game a day for 9 straight days. Haven't broken that streak, haven't broken that record since. Curious to see if and when it'll happen before I graduate, but that really just depends on kind of when the schedule is. If I get close or have a chance at it, I will definitely keep you all posted on all that. But yeah, that'll do it for us today. Thank you again for tuning in to Behind the Caution Tape. It's always fun to just share my thoughts, recap everything. That's why I love doing this. For everything to know what I'll be at, where I'm at, make sure to follow me on Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you want to get your information. Follow me at CrashLit. And just if you see me anything, feel free to come say hi. I'm happy, chat all things USC with you and just, talk about our Trojans. So looking forward to an exciting week. Hope to catch you on an event and fight on.